Ignite is an ongoing series of speedy presentations. Each speaker gets only 5 minutes and 20 slides that auto-advance every 15 seconds.
I'm now in a position to introduce our next speaker, who is a very, very special lady, a friend of mine. I've seen her speak many, many times. Art and creativity and communication for her are just part of the natural rhythm of life. It just comes naturally. She spends a lot of time doing creative things, which she feels nurtures her inner self. She is not only a graphic designer, but she's a web designer, abstract painter, TV and radio producer and host. She's done voiceovers, and she is a certified professional life coach, specializing in helping women actualize their creative gifts. She also happens to be the immediate past president of Dhahran Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Akanke Abdulkhaliq.
Thank you. 1989 was a year of great change and positive transformation in my life. I learned something then that I hadn't learned in elementary school, high school, college, or the university, or at home. I learned the science of self-discovery, the science of knowing myself. Self-discovery, is that process in life where you intimately and sometimes painfully look at who you are and how you're showing up in life, so that you can show up bigger. I found out about it by getting an invitation from a friend one day. There was an invitation that said, create a life you love. I said, okay, that sounds reasonable. I want to do that. Create a life I love. So I went to the seminar, and when I got there, I knew immediately I was in the right place. It was a room very similar to this, with beautiful people just like you. The room had aromatherapy, and all the people seemed to be very nice. They were talking about serious things. 2 hours later, after the seminar was over, I realized that self-discovery was all about magnifying yourself under a microscope to see what your fears are, what your desires are, what your talents are, and how you can change the world. So from this seminar, I left with a lot of ignitement. I was ignited because I wanted to make a difference in the world. So, with my drive and ambition, I decided to go back into my history, my past, to look at those things that were making me not rise to who I could be, running out self-doubt, stomping it into the ground, and reaching back into my African ancestry, which for me as an African American was a big, big distinction. So there are 2 ways in which self-discovery, my journey of self-discovery, led me to other discoveries. First of all, reaching back to my African ancestry, I had to heal my past. Because as many of you know, there was something called chattel slavery. And for us, this was very dehumanizing. And for many of us, we still suffer from some of the psychological damage. And to heal myself, I began to read lots of books about our history. We were great kings and queens before we were brought to America. We were great Muslims before we came to America, but that's later. For me, this was a big part of my healing and my self-discovery journey. I became a person African-centered. I became very culturally connected to my Africanness. And for me, this helped me to become more confident, because when you know who you are, you walk taller in life, don't you? So that made a big difference for me. I even started my own television show because I was more confident. The show was called The African-Centered Agenda, where we talked about things that we needed to do as a people to heal our past so that we could achieve greatness in life. I really enjoyed that. And then one day, I thought about the second thing that really, really helped me on my journey of self-discovery. Who is God? What is this spiritual relationship? I wanted to know more about God. I wanted to know how to do things. Because in my childhood, I had a normal childhood, birthdays and I went to school and my mother put me in dance class and all of these things. A normal childhood. But one thing was missing. One thing was missing for me. And that was that my mother and father, they never told me about God. They never took me to church. Well, they sent me to church. I was a Girl Scout, and the Girl Scouts met at the church. So I guess that's kind of like going to church, but not really. And so for me, I didn't have that spiritual foundation that is so important for us to really discover who we are. And what happened was, as a producer, I had to work on another show. It was an Islamic show. I was the camera woman, and they were talking about Islam. Aha, I'm working the camera, but I'm listening, and it's making me think more about faith and God and self-discovery and meditating and all kinds of things, because I wanted to become better. For me, this was one of the most profound distinctions. I was a Christian at the time, so I got my Bible, and I found out about this book called the Quran. And I also, because I was African-centered, thought about being an African traditional religious person. But by and large, the most profound change on my journey of self-discovery is that I became a Muslim. And for me, it is the change that has made the biggest difference in my life. I cannot tell you how much. That's for another Ignite. I want to say to you, I am a woman today who is conscious of her ancestry, who is very proud to be a Muslim, and who is on a continuous journey of self-discovery. And I hope your self-discovery journey leads you to great places too. Back to you. Thank you.